Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into some absolutely brilliant strategies from WorkBlok. We're going to look at exactly how you can conquer the sheer, overwhelming chaos of the modern job search. We'll be breaking down how to master two absolutely vital things: writing open applications that actually land on the right desk, and organizing your entire application process so you literally never lose track of an opportunity again. So, if you've ever felt like your job hunt is just spinning completely out of control, you are in exactly the right place.
Let's be totally honest for a second. Is your open application just disappearing into some general inbox somewhere? You know what I mean, right? It's a massive source of frustration for so many job seekers. You spend hours writing this perfect application, you send it out into the ether, and nothing. Crickets. It really feels like you're just throwing a message in a bottle into a black hole. But here's the thing. What if the problem isn't the job market at all? What if it's the way your application is actually structured and tracked?
All right, let's get into section one, the application chaos. Okay, to fix the problem, we first need to acknowledge the reality of the situation. And the very first major pain point we absolutely have to address is just how overwhelming and disorganized the modern job hunt actually is. When you're applying to multiple places, man, things get messy incredibly fast. Think about the old way of doing things. You probably have a job posting left open in, one of your 50 browser tabs? Your specifically tailored CV is buried somewhere deep in your downloads folder, the motivation letter sitting in your email drafts, and worst of all, the critical date to actually follow up with the hiring manager is living entirely in your head. Look, when information lives in that many different places, the entire process becomes just logistically restless and, frankly, completely prone to failure.
This is exactly where we need to fundamentally shift our mindset. A lot of people have this really bad habit of being way too broad. Telling a company you are available for everything and basically asking them to figure out where you fit in. But here's the harsh truth. Organizations do not want to figure out your options for you. Instead, the WorkBlok philosophy is all about choosing one highly specific direction. You have to clearly state exactly what type of work, what kind of team, or what specific problem you envision yourself tackling. That intense focus, that is exactly what ensures you stand out from the crowd.
Moving right along to section two, the targeted open application. That brings us perfectly to our first major pillar of the day, intentionality. We're going to look at how to craft a targeted open application that actually makes a real impact. What's really fascinating here is how this completely reframes the entire concept of applying. Think about it. Because there's no formal job posting, there's literally no structural hook to hang your CV and letter on. So that means the applicant, you, must build that context entirely yourself. Your research replaces the job text. You need to dig into their teams, look at their growth directions, check out their recent projects, and understand the types of clients they work with. You need just enough understanding to give your application real targeted substance.
So how do we actually pull that off? Well, WorkBlok outlines 3 highly practical steps to turn an open application from a random gamble into a serious substantive proposal. Step 1, research the organization to find actual signals about their team and potential needs. Step 2, choose one clear direction, explicitly naming the role or the specific contribution you see for yourself. And step 3, build in an appropriate next step, closing your message with a realistic invitation for contact. Which leads us into section 3, relevance and follow-up.
So once you have your direction locked in, we move into the next crucial phase. You have to ensure that both the documents you send and your subsequent follow-up perfectly match this highly targeted approach. Your CV and your letter need to be singing the exact same tune. But before we get to perfecting that, let's just quickly fire off the most common mistakes that will absolutely ruin an open application. First up, treating the letter as a general availability notice. Hey, I'm looking for a job. Got anything? Yeah, don't do that. Second, failing to choose a clear role direction, basically just being way too vague. And third, not adapting your CV and letter to the specific organization. If your documents look like they could have been sent to 50 other companies, they're going straight in the trash.
Now, a really crucial point is how you actually wrap the whole thing up. The closing of your open application should always be active, but never ever pushy. You aren't trying to force a formal job interview right then and there. Instead, you just want to open the door for contact. You might suggest a brief introductory chat, maybe a substantive coffee meeting, or simply ask them to keep your profile on hand for future opportunities. That combination of having a clear direction while staying totally realistic, it builds immense credibility.
Next up, section 4, stop the spreadsheet chaos.
Okay, so sending the perfect targeted application is only half the battle. Now, we have to talk about the absolute nightmare of tracking these applications once they are actually out in the wild. I absolutely love this quote from WorkBlok. Organizing primarily means removing friction, not building extra administration. Seriously, think about that. So many people, the second they lose the overview of their job hunt, they totally panic and build this massive 20-column Excel spreadsheet. But a spreadsheet like that, that's a symptom of panic, not productivity. If a system is too heavy to maintain, it just becomes a burden. It's no longer a tool. And this leads to a massive light bulb moment regarding how we track our progress. We need to completely redefine what status actually means. Status is a decision tool, not just a label for your personal archive. Let's say you label an application as sent. That shouldn't just be a historical record. It should immediately trigger a future behavior, like setting a date to follow up. If the status is interview planned, well, that should trigger you to prepare your examples and your questions. Every single status must point to an action. Let's get practical with Section 5, a system that works. So what does a functional system actually look like? We need a lean, action-oriented tracking system that strips away all that administrative bloat and puts you firmly back in control. These right here are the core fields, the minimal, stable data anchors you actually need to keep everything light, fast, and actionable. You need the company name, job title, job link, date of application, current status, the specific CV version you used, and the next action. That's it. You do not need 20 fields. You just need the ones that actually help you make decisions. A good system should literally take a minute to update and maybe just a few minutes to review at the end of the week.
Oh, and this brings up another massive organizational mistake people make all the time: keeping documents loose versus linking them directly to the application dossier. If you just keep your CVs loose in some random folder, I promise you, a month from now, you will not remember which specific version or motivation angle you used for which company. By linking the exact files directly to the specific application record, you maintain all that context. It prevents embarrassing mistakes, and it makes your interview prep an absolute breeze.
So to summarize, taking back control of your job search organization really just comes down to a simple 3-step practical plan. 1. Determine those core fields we just discussed. Keep it lean. 2. Link your specific files directly to each application so you never lose the context. And 3. Work exclusively with action-oriented statuses. This workflow completely removes friction and turns tracking into a proactive strategy rather than just a reactive, annoying chore.
Which brings us to our final, somewhat provocative question for you today. I want you to take a hard look at your current workflow and ask yourself, does every single open application you send have a next action or follow-up date attached to it? Honestly, if the answer is no, you are leaving major opportunities on the table. It's time to strip away the chaos, apply some intentional focus, and build a system that actually works for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy applying.